All right, it's Friday, September 8th. It's just a little before 4 p.m. We just left. So it's been a month since we've been out on the boat. Maybe the last time out was Kildragger Palooza, or maybe 2 harbors after that. At any rate, we're heading out single-handed. We're gonna head towards 2 harbors, I think. A little bit late. Sunset's at 7 p.m. and it's gonna take us a little while to get there. So we are going to try and get the sails up here in Hurricane Gulch. At least we'll get the main up. We may unfurl the Genoa once we get outside, but I want to get the main up before we get into any bumpy water. So we'll do that first, and then likely we'll motor sail. I don't know. Right here there's really good wind, so we might be able to. We've got about 12 knots. I don't think this is going to hold, but if it did, I think we'd have some really sweet sailing on the way back. Actually, it's up to 15. There's more wind out here on the other side of this breakwater. Okay, a little busy to film. Got a little bit of wind in here in Hurricane Gulch. Not too bad, but it's blowing probably about 18. I think it's going to die out when we get out, but we've got the main up. Next thing is we're going to unfurl this Genoa. So this is going to be the first time trying Kildragger as a sloop. Staysail and the Yankee are in for service, so I'm going to get the leech pockets, the Velcro redone on those. Maybe a little bit of light restitching in a couple of places. So I've never used this 135 before. We've got no staysail, and this is a big heavy head sail compared to what we've used in the past. So I'll be really interested to see how she performs. I think we're gonna go ahead and wait till we get outside the breakwater a little bit and see what we can do with the wind. So I'm not gonna do the head sail just yet. Maybe in about 10 minutes or so, we'll give that a shot. All right. Angel's Gate, we're gonna come up a little bit and see how high we can point. We're gonna unfurl the Genoa here and see what we can do. We can point to 2 harbors and make good speed. We'll go that way. If the wind falls down and it's better to White Cove, we'll go to White Cove. So we're gonna see where the wind takes us. Right now, we might be a little overpowered with this Genoa. So this is gonna be fun. All right, let's do this stuff. See what kind of trouble we can get into. How much trouble are we gonna get into? Probably a lot. About 4:30. In my haste, I made several mistakes, which I knew better. First of all, I had the spinnaker halyards pulled back against the tow rail on the side. So when I pulled the head sail over the genoa sheet got caught on one of the halyards that went down to the tow rail. So I had to crawl around and basically dump the genoa and untie the halyard and reposition it. So I think I still need to go put some tension in that, but it's clipped on, it's not going to go anywhere. And then the other big mistake I made was that I neglected to pull the cars back for the genoa. So if you look at it right now, it's overpowered. It's got that big cusp in it. And if you look where the genoa car is, it's too far forward. So what I need to do is I need to put some slack on that sheet and then pull that car down on the track, pull it aft, and that will allow me to get a flatter profile in the head sail, which will help depower it and do better in higher winds. So as it stands right now, I still think the wind's going to drop a little bit. So I'm just going to catch a little breather, relax a little. We're pretty steady. I've got the Traveler dropped on the main to depower it a little bit. I could have the main reef too if I were really doing this right, but we're going to go ahead and kind of motor sail for right now at a little bit of a higher angle just to make speed. And then as soon as the wind starts dying down, which I'm pretty sure it will in a little bit, then we'll deal with the head sail and we'll get everything dialed in properly with the sheet and all that. We're making okay time right now. We're doing 6.5 knots, so we're making good speed, and you know the boat's pretty comfortable right now. And one thing I would add was that it's you know, it's a bit dangerous with that sheet whipping around like it was, and it wasn't super smart of me to be up there not tethered in and everything else. So more shenanigans on my end, the things I kind of knew better, but in my haste didn't really take the time, and I guess that's what I get. I mean, I didn't even provision today. I just was in a hurry to try and get to the island before it got dark out, and I figured I'd just survive with whatever's on the boat. And you know, there's a little bit of food and stuff like that. So all in all, everything is okay. We will get dialed in a little while. 5 o'clock, got the genoa furled up, so we're motor sailing under main. Just keep things kind of simple and manageable. I'm tired. I worked today. I'm sailing in the evening. A lot going on. Not in the shipping lanes yet. We're almost there, actually, right on the cusp. I see we got a cruise ship and another tanker there. We'll check and see if either one's going to be northbound. At this point, I don't think either one of those are northbound. So it looks like we're going to be clearing the northbound lane. Southbound, I don't see anything visually other than a couple of pleasure boats and fishing boats. And nothing showing up on AIS that appears to be a concern. So with a little luck, we'll get past the shipping lanes without any traffic, and we will just stay on course and keep heading over towards Two Harbor. Yeah, I guess another thing, if we're counting mistakes here, another dumb thing for me is I really didn't need to unfurl that whole genoa out in 18 knots of wind the first time that I ever flew it. So shame on me. Lots of mistakes today. Good news is I'm intact with everything except for the hat that got knocked over my head and the glasses that the sheet swiped and sent out to sea. So I always keep a spare pair of glasses or two on the boat, as well as some contact lenses. just in case moments like this happen. But you know, that's the price for stupidity. And coming out when you're tired, not taking your time, doing things hastily, not checking shit out in calm conditions. You know, lesson learned, lesson learned, lesson learned, lesson learned, lesson learned. But, you know, it's good to have a little bit of a sense of humility once in a while. If everything went perfectly every time, you never learn anything. And getting yourself out of messes that you get into, like, that's how you really, really learn. So, guess which mistakes I won't be making for a little while. Still have like 18 knots of wind. Lumpy seas. Splashed around a bit. Got a visual on two harbors. We're pointed pretty high right now. We need to come down probably 20 degrees. I'm going to look at the chart plotter and see what it says. Six o'clock update. We're past the shipping lanes. We've got about 9.4 nautical miles to Isthmus Cove. We're doing somewhere between 6.3, 6.6 knots, so just averaging about 6.5 knots. So we're making pretty good time. ETA at this point is just a hair before 7:30 p.m. So we might still have a little bit of twilight. It'll be post sunset, but I think we'll be okay with that. Now, the seas are still pretty lumpy. It's wet on deck. The whole deck's gotten a good saltwater bath. Thank goodness for the Dodger up front, catching most of the water up there. It's been reasonably dry back here. Winds lightened up a little bit. I'm seeing 16 knots, 15 or so. So the waves have started to settle down just a hair, and the wind is, 3 or 4 knots less than what we were seeing earlier. So I expect as we get into the island in the next hour or so, especially as we get under the shadow of the island, things will flatten out even a little bit more. So this guy says his location is 03 and 57. Mayday, mayday. Anybody?
02058 for the north. The west is 1175673.
Mayday, mayday. Anybody hear me? My boat is broken down. That was how the guy called mayday.
Roger, your position was.
We're going to try a DSC call to SV AeroNautical. So we'll see if we get an acknowledge back. Who knows? Maybe I fat fingered the MMSI number. Phones are ringing. This is Keel Dragger. Yeah, I've got a good copy, over.
How you doing, Mark?
Pretty good. It's looking like close to 7:30 ETA. Things are flattening out. It was a little bit rolly coming out. Over.
Yeah, we had the same thing. We had good winds, and we were making 7 knots all the way over. It was pretty bouncy, though. Once we got close to Bird Rock, it smoothed out, and it's flat smooth over here in the harbor now.
Nice. I was wondering what the harbor conditions are like. I was debating on whether to drop the hook or pick up a mooring. Over.
I think you'd be good either way. There's 2 boats over in the anchorage now. It looks like they're rolling a little bit, but I suspect it's going to smooth out as the evening goes by.
till 7, 3.4 nautical miles from the anchorage. And we're seeing 12.6 knots of wind true. We are about roughly 15 minutes from official sunset. Little haze, but visibility is good. Sounds like there's plenty of moorings. We're gonna drive by and scout the anchorage first. 7:19, officially after sunset. Getting dark. There is Ship Rock off to starboard. Bird Rock's over here. Probably won't see it super well. We are gonna turn wide around Harbor Reef here. I don't see the buoy yet. I've got it on the chart plotter. There's a buoy marking the west side of it, so we'll stay clear of the reef and see if we can get our preferred anchoring spot here. All right, can't see much. It's 7:45. We're anchored down and snubbed. I think we're in a little less than 100 feet. We'll turn off the running lights, turn on the anchor light. Almost cruisers midnight. Just about 5 till 9 or so. We got close to 12 knots of wind here at the anchorage. So it was, just getting dark as I dropped the hook. Got all snubbed in and everything, so I had a little bit of light, so that was kind of nice. And it was, blowing 12, 13, 14 knots when I dropped the hook, so I probably should have gotten it on video, but try and anticipate where you're going to drift to as you're dropping the hook to get it set, and everything went perfectly there, and I'm actually in about 98 feet of water right now is what I'm seeing. First thing I do is, on the GPS device is put waypoints, and on my phone put an anchor alarm and do a little bit of an anchor watch, and everything's good. So we had a can of Campbell's cream of chicken, some kind of chicken soup. I don't even know what it was. It was okay. That's the zero provisioning trip, so we're just living off of whatever we have on the boat. Probably stuff I need to get rid of. Tomorrow I'll probably will have a Cliff Bar for breakfast. I have stuff to make coffee, but no creamer. I can survive that as long as I have my coffee. And then, for the beer fest and everything, we'll eat on, at the island and get food there. So I think we're fine either way. Worst case, I can make, spaghetti and stuff like that. I've got, things I can make on the boat still. All right, good morning. A little rolly at the anchorage. But we're going to go ahead and try and get the Tohatsu 9.8 mounted in the Takacat dinghy. Look at this sign of beauty right here, the Tohatsu 9.8. 3 gallons of gas, so we got a little bit more range and a lot more power than the Yamaha 2.5. It's a 2-stroke, so I still have to mix oil and all that stuff in the gas. This I inherited with the boat when I bought it, but just got it serviced, so this is the first time I've ever used it. We'll see how this goes. All right. See what she's got. We are ripping. It's like SV AeroNautical over there. We'll stop by and see. Now we're at sailing vessel Riff Raff. David's getting the passes for the Brew Fest. Let the debauchery begin. All right, here we are at the Two Harbors Brew Fest 2023. What do you think, David?
Awesome. Good experience.
All right. Cheers. Look at this nerd from Sailing Soleil here.
Keel dragger calling Frioles.
That's right. It's 9.8 rips. All right, Andy wants to race me to keel dragger. He's got quite a head start on me. Fuck, Andy. I mean, we'll see what we can do here. I want to see you get further forward. I think a big part of the problem is my fat asses. I got to get my weight further forward. This boat's pitched up pretty high. I think we'd get better speed. But I don't think we're going to beat them. Yeah,
9.8.
you kicked my ass is what happened. All right, it's a little bit after midnight, and having a little trouble sleeping. It's super rolly here. I debated earlier today about getting to a mooring, but I thought, nah, it's fine. We're bouncing around here quite a bit. Winds are blowing pretty consistently, just a little under 20 knots, which is, let's see what we have right now. Right now we're seeing 17, give or take. So it's been gusting closer to 20, holding the 16 on the lower end pretty consistently for a while. And we're in 98 feet of water. So I was wondering if we were going to drag or anything, but we're good. We haven't moved at all. So that Rockna and the 300 feet at 3/8 chain hold super well. So I'm quite pleased with that. But I do pay a little bit more attention when it's blowing, regardless of what depth I'm anchored in or anything like that. Just to be a little bit more diligent. And I set anchor alarms and things like that on my phone, but that's all good. But either way, it's just really bumpy out here, and I'm a light sleeper, so I'm hoping it chills down a little bit tonight. But the fact that it's midnight, we're seeing 17 knots. Tomorrow I think we'll have supposed to have some decent south swells. Maybe a little bumpy heading back up to San Pedro. I guess the good news is that the south swells won't be working completely against us on the way home. All right, 6 o'clock. About 6:34 is sunrise. Raining out right now. A little dark. All right, this should be fun. About 7 o'clock, a little after, a little gloomy, a little bit of rain. Feels like it almost warmed up a little bit. Pretty rolly here, which adds another dimension to pulling this outboard up. Shouldn't be too difficult with the trusty hoist. First step is we disconnected the fuel line here. We're gonna burn the gas out of the engine so that two-stroke oil mixed in the gas doesn't foul the carburetor. So we'll let this run out. And boarded by all sides here. We've got Sailing vessel Stoked, followed by sailing vessel Riff Raff. The fleet is heading out. We'll see if we can catch them. What's going on, nerd?
What's going on?
Woo! It's pulling in the dink and then I'm out of here.
Same. I did that shit last night.
Good plan.
I was like, I don't want to do it in the morning.
Your swim ladder's dragging.
Oh, thanks. I always forget something.
I know. I got other things dragging.
Yeah, your keel.
All right, man. Good trip, David. You got a little bit of a line hanging over on port. Might be your leash for your paddleboard and a fender. It'll be off the bottom. We'll see if the chain castles or not. Hopefully the chain stacks well. There's the anchor. Woo! Look at that. Adios, Two Harbors. So, it's 8 o'clock. A little rolly out here. My autopilot is not operating. I think it's so there's a switch they engage. There's this little bit of a Morse lever here, and that locks the autopilot into the quadrant, and the autopilot basically won't engage unless there's a little contact switch that it engages the electronics on the autopilot. So if it's not mechanically engaged, or if it doesn't sense it, then the autopilot won't work. So I pull on the cable and it locks in, but I'm seeing no pilot. But my guess is that's the problem, not the computer itself for the autopilot. But who knows? So it's something I'm gonna have to dig into. But it makes me rethink a little bit what I want to do here with the sails and everything. Since it's pretty light wind right now, and I think it's probably going to build. I'll motor for a little bit, just kind of monitor the situation. Likely put up the main before too long. I don't think I'm going to run the Genoa, just because I'm trying to keep the boat pointed where I want while I'm screwing around with that Genoa and everything like that. It's a little bit more work than I want to try and do today. All right, I should have filmed this. This was twice as much work without having the autopilot working, but we are full canvas, engines off, we're sailing. We've got pretty much just about a beam reach, just a hair forward of the beam. So the sails are kind of out easy, and we're starting to pick up a little speed. 7.5 knots of wind, true. 3.6, 3.7, 3.8. So if the wind builds a little bit, we should have some good sailing on this point of sail. So let's give it a shot and see how we do. I think unless the wind builds and we get overpowered, which is potential by the time we start getting across the channel here, we may have a little bit of a cluster. But right now this is pretty easy sailing. It's pretty nice. Other than listen to this powerboat pass us and wake us, it's pretty peaceful. Well, on the downside, my autopilot is not working. On a positive note, full canvas with the 135 out, we're making about 4 knots with the engine off. Nice beam reach, over.
Very nice. I've been motoring just with the main F, but I just noticed that there seems to be enough wind on the beam that I was about to take out the Genoa and see what I can get going. Over.
Yeah, I think it's going to be building, so I'm going to take it as far as I can. It's quite a bit of extra work not having a functional autopilot messing with all this stuff. Pulling the sails in will be a little easier than putting them out, so it should all be good. But it's peaceful now. I'm enjoying it. Over.
Right on. You got some bungee cords or something to hold the wheel? Over.
I've got a little bit of a wheel lock on there that I can tension it over.
While you're doing the sail, over.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a wheel lock. I can tension the wheel, so that's no big deal.
Oh, right on. That's cool. Over.
Yeah, you may beat me back, but a little slow going right now, but I'll start picking up speed here, I think. Just looking forward to getting a little sailing in after that motor in.
Absolutely. No, I hear you. I'm just gonna, as soon as we get off, I want to see what I can get with the Jenny out. It'll be nice to turn this motor off for sure. Over.
Right on, dog. All right, well, kill dragger is going to be standing by. I guess kill dragger out, whatever. 8:45. We're down to 4 knots true. We're doing about 2.1 knots right now. The main is flogging around. I didn't put a preventer, but I dropped the traveler and just pulled in the main sheet a little bit to keep it from flogging so much. And our Genoa is flogging as well. I'm gonna wait just a little bit longer. I'll try and be patient, see if we get a little wind that comes up here in the next 15 minutes. If not, we'll roll up the head sail. We'll keep the main up and just tighten the main sheet and flatten it out, kick up the engine and start motor sailing. So I really need about 7 knots true to make it worthwhile to sail. 6 wasn't too bad, but 4 knots true just isn't enough. We're just flogging around. So engine's on. We're at cruising RPMs and we're doing just somewhere between 6 and 6.5 knots. Speed of our ground. 10 a.m. update. We're 8.4 nautical miles from Angel's Gate. Just listen to the marine weather statement. There's a chance of isolated thunderstorms. If you look around, see some clouds. It looks like there could be a little bit of rain over there. We got a little bit of rain this morning. One thing I noticed was that felt a little warmer and a little bit more humid. And I think that's because there is a hurricane or tropical storm somewhere off the coast of Mexico. Not in any danger of getting much from that here, but one thing we are getting today are south swells. I think the forecast is somewhere in the order of 4 to 6 feet. South swells at like 11 seconds, 12 seconds, something like that. But right now it's feels like there's a lot of west in the swells, you know, kind of southwest, pushing us along as we're going into San Pedro. After 11. Winds are starting to come up. I'm seeing a little over 7 knots true. We're at Angel's Gate. You can see these swells coming in against the breakwaters there. This is a little more dramatic earlier. Pretty good swells at the mouth of the harbor. We are going to hook the cord here after we get around these boats, and as soon as we get some space, we'll dump the main.